on the stairs or on the floor in the bathroom.
But sometimes. So this is the piece where the woman is sitting there with a counselor, with her husband or boyfriend or partner. What did you guys think of this piece?
I think, like, watching it as someone who sort of identifies with that quite a bit, I almost like knew what it was about right away. Like, as soon as they were talking about how she just sort of sat down and was blank and he would find her like that. But then when she goes into that, like, her whole just feelings about her anxiety, like, I'm sitting here shaking and getting it and like hearing the heartbeat and like feeling everything, and then when it flips back and you realize she hasn't actually said any of this, you're like, oh yeah, that's relatable, I understand that. So I think that that writing and the soundscape of it all just like captured that amazingly. So yeah, props.
I also think that the director, writer, cinematographer did a great job at building anxiety from the clock. Like, they're asking her these monumental questions and she has like 30 seconds or 50 seconds, maybe a minute tops. And the expectation is that she would actually be able to give some meaningful answer when she doesn't have the time, which actually builds on her anxiety. And initially I thought the story would be about a miscarriage and her husband working through a miscarriage. And so I think it was well done, one of the stronger ones.
I actually saw a parallel with the shorter film with the people on the roof having a conversation. Because it's like 3 people sitting in a room looking right at each other, exchanging words, but what's happening is on a totally different level than what words are being exchanged.
This is a piece where things that are being said, and I noticed the chuckle too of like, and how does that make you feel? I just told you how I felt. Chaotic and terrified. Yeah, I felt panicked. Like, I felt panicked just watching her describe her panic.
I found it really not upsetting, but a little bit irritating that it felt that the therapy was more for the man than it was for the woman. Like, it was almost like, oh, I feel bad when she just sits down and it's horrible. And it's from, like, as someone who also has like pretty bad anxiety, like, it's really annoying when you are in need of help and someone else makes it about themselves, almost in a way. So it just kind of felt like she wasn't in a place where she could get help because they weren't on her side.
So I noted that, and I thought, I bet that was the only way he could get her there. Like, do this for me. But that's just my interpretation of that moment, because they don't give you the context there.
I'm really glad that someone else said that, because I actually thought that it was pretty clear that the man was driving the whole thing, and I don't think she wanted to be in that situation with the counselor or the therapist. And I also thought it was pretty clear that that wasn't a forum that was going to be helpful to her, and definitely didn't seem like she was kind of there of her own accord. And I was a little confused by the thing at the end, because I wasn't sure if the film was suggesting that it was good that she was there or that it wasn't good that she was there. Because I didn't think that whole setup was going to end up being helpful to her at all. Those are my thoughts.
I got the impression, and I could very much be wrong in this, but I got the impression that she wasn't going to get help if he didn't push her there. That being said, that doesn't necessarily mean that she was ready. So there's a complicated issue happening.
But first, I just need to understand a little more. During these moments, how do you feel?
I actually saw a different story, because for me, she never voiced what we hear, all the truth we hear about her feelings and her anxiety. She thinks about the questions she's been asked, but she never voiced it. So that's why the question get repeated, as if we've not moved forward. And the clock doesn't seem to be making much progress. So I agree with the people thinking that it's not a good place for her to actually find the help she needs. And that's why she keeps it to herself. She's not able to communicate it, maybe yet.
I really love this film. I think that the director was trying to show people what anxiety is. And I think he did a really, really phenomenal job, because it was like a 5-minute movie, and in the last 10 seconds was like a lifetime for her. I don't know if anybody's ever been in pain or broken an arm or something so very traumatic, that 1 second can seem like 3 days. And I think that that the director and the people who wrote this got it. Like, they explained anxiety to me.
Well, that is very high praise. That's what every filmmaker should and writer should be hoping to do, to explain something to someone who hasn't experienced it or doesn't understand it, or even if they do, but to feel it from those transmissions of somebody else, right? And the other interesting thing about this piece is that it could be that they're describing that, this woman, her thoughts are racing faster than she can articulate them to the professional. And if they've gotten that, and if people understood that, then they really did do something fantastic.